Hi, everyone. Hope that you are enjoying the cool weather, our Florida winter, if you will, that we've had for the last couple of days. It's kind of refreshing, I think, to climb out of the 80s. So I hope that you think so, as well as we enter the last Torah portion in the book of Genesis. We enter the book of Vayechi, and it is the conclusion of the 4 weeks of the story of Joseph and his brothers that we have been talking about. It comes to a close. That's how the book ends. And so the Torah portion, of course, has a wild ride in it, like most of the Torah portions have been, particularly in these last 4 weeks, about the balance between the relationship between all of the brothers. Of course, as we recall, there is animosity between them from the beginning of the story for Torah portions ago, particularly because Jacob gives Joseph the coat of many colors, or the striped coat, and not the other brothers. And the animosity goes from there, including the brothers thinking they might want to kill him, and they don't. They sell him. He ends up in Egypt. As we know, he becomes the viceroy of Egypt because he's a dream interpreter for Pharaoh. And then the brothers show up actually in Egypt because there's famine in the land, except for in Egypt because of the storehouses that Joseph dreamed would be that would had this dream, and he's the one who prepared the storehouses. And so his brothers show up, and he has them go through a series of tests to see where their intent is. Hence the word intent on the screen. I have sort of an up arrow and a down arrow of where our intent flows. And then ultimately, the last week's Torah portion, Joseph finally reveals himself to the brothers to say, "Hey, it's Joseph." And then we get to this week's Torah portion. And in this week's Torah portion, by the way, Jacob dies. And so we'll be talking a lot more about Jacob tomorrow morning, by the way, at our Shabbat morning service and Torah discussion. But so Jacob dies, and then the brothers come to all together come to bury Jacob. And there's this very interesting part here that I'd love for us to think about on the Shabbat. So Jacob dies, and this is literally what the Torah says. It literally says, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph still bears a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrong we did him?" They're reflecting on how bad they treated him throughout their lives. So the Torah actually says that. Okay, Jacob is dead. What if Joseph now treats us treacherously? And so here, that's the one verse is what I read you, and then the next verse says, "So the brothers they sent this to Joseph. This is what they said. Before his death, your father left this instruction." So they sent this to Joseph. Whether it's fabricated or not, it's complicated for us to tell. But they said they sent a message to Joseph, and the front of the envelope says, "Before his death, your father left this instruction: colon." So let's pretend that Joseph opens the letter that seems like it's from his father, and it says, "Forgive, I urge you, the offense and guilt of your brothers who treated you so harshly. Therefore, please forgive the offense of the servants of the God of your father's house." That's what the letter says. And then Joseph, and the text says, and then Joseph was in tears as they spoke to him, as the brothers came to speak to him. So they handed him this letter, and he opens it and he reads it, and he is crying. He's overwhelmed by it. The question is, going back to that first piece that I read you, it says, when the brothers saw that their father was dead, what if Joseph bears a grudge? The question is, did they fabricate this? Did they fabricate this letter? Did they fabricate a letter that they then handed to Joseph to say that Jacob wrote? Jacob said to Joseph, "Don't be so harsh against your brothers." This is the question we have to figure out. It says it. This is what it says in the Torah. This is what we have to figure out. Where is their intent? Was their intent to get out of it, to not have Joseph possibly go after them? Did they not trust how Joseph was going to react after Jacob died? Very complicated piece of text, and I think that's where our intent comes from to decide. We only know what we're doing or saying or plan to do. And so not only do I invite you to come to discuss this very complicated piece of text with us tomorrow morning, but also it's a new year, a new secular year. And I think that this Torah portion reminds us on this Shabbat particularly about our intent. And that if our intent does not match our action, I think we have to find ways to align those. That we have to find a space that we're feeling really good about what we're doing, what we're saying, what we're doing, how we're acting, and that we're not just having this false intent, hence the image behind me. The intent of the arrow going up or the arrow going down, we don't really know because it's in our head. So on this Shabbat, I hope that our actions are filled with this good, thoughtful, loving intent in all actions that we take. Of course, also be thinking of friends and family and anyone who is affected by the fires in California. The congregation will be very, very quickly, if not already up momentarily, we'll have a link to be able to donate to our federation here that will get the funds over to the Los Angeles Federation to provide whatever assistance we can to so many affected by these fires. So please keep an eye out for that as well. Services are not that far away. They are, of course, at 6:30 as usual, and then tomorrow morning at 8:30 will be our service and our Torah study. And of course, with all these hundreds of days of thinking of our friends, our brothers and sisters and friends and family, if we have connections, of course, to those who are sitting still in the hands of Hamas. And we will continue to put as much shalom as we can into our Shabbat. Look forward to seeing you soon.